If you've beaten Iceborne's initial story, you're familiar with the big post-game locale, the Guiding Lands. It's home to a great many monsters, including recently outed sex criminal Safi Jiva. But when engaging with the locale at a deeper level than just seeing Zinogre once, if at all,
Okay, bye.
you will likely hear the tip to use at least one level of geology. This allows you to pick up monster shinies twice, doubling the materials gained when hunting monsters. But this only works in the Guiding Lands. Why? That's what I wanted to find out, through my own research and experimentation. To start, I tested to see if geology had any other fringe cases outside of the Guiding Lands, especially when gathering off of living monsters. I used Radobon and ERRRM, since you can mine off their backs when they're knocked down. Going off geology's description, max level should increase the number of times you can gather from mining points, but this doesn't happen. 3 is all you get per knockdown, regardless of geology points. But how about in the Guiding Lands? Does it work on them there? Nope. So what then? Turns out, as a skill, geology simply checks to see if the loot table of a gathering point contains any applicable items. Bones for level 1, account items for level 2, and ores for level 3. In the case of Radobon and ERRRM, it seems their mining points are hard-coded not to interact with geology. But since Guiding Lands monsters drop unique bone items and lack the same sort of failsafe, geology activates and allows you to pick up the shiny twice. As a quick aside, monster carves also seem to have the same sort of protections as Radobon and ERRRM. Geology has no impact on the number of carves, and this is pretty easy to verify because not only do carving skills exist, but I've went ahead and carved some things. You'll notice Black Diabolus' tail gives no additional carves, nor Rajang's body. Please note, Rajang can normally be carved 4 times, and that doesn't change here, even with max geology. As it turns out, there are a few monsters in the Guiding Lands, Great Jagras, Great Gyros, Kulu-ya-ku, and tzitzi-ya-ku, where geology stops working on them. And this happens once their respective regions hit level 4 or higher. At this point, their shinies only drop their unique Guiding Lands monster part, and none of the bones, as these are the only monsters in the Guiding Lands which cannot be tempered. This quirky little exploit was never patched, so it wasn't really a mystery that needed solving, but I think it deserves some closure, especially with wilds on the horizon. While it's certainly useful, it's also extremely niche, which is probably why the Iceborne team never fixed it. But how's about I learn you the best ways to maximize shiny drops from monsters, yeah? The following will always drop a shiny from a Guiding Lands monster. 1 for monsters flinching each other. This has a cooldown. 1 for wallbangs. 1 for turf wars. 1 for every 10% of max HP that a monster loses. 1 for any other time a monster would normally drop a shiny, like breaking Rajang out of Rampage mode, for example. 1 for slaying or capturing a monster. And finally, 2 for breaking apart. This is your reminder that monster parts take increased damage when they're softened and sent into a wall, allowing you to get 3 or more shinies to drop at once. And because of geology, all of that gets a 2 times multiplier, resulting in a lot of Hoover Vacuum roleplay. It really takes the edge off the augmentation grind, especially on monsters like Velkhana, Rajang, and Ruder Gigante, whose tempered items are necessary for a lot of high-tier augments. One last quirk of the Guiding Land shiny system that I should mention is that there is a definite cap for the number of shinies that can drop from a monster. Obviously, you can only deplete its max HP by 10% 10 times before the monster stops moving, but some monsters regrow broken parts, and you won't get any additional shinies for breaking them again. Some shinies, like those dropped when a monster is flinched or hunted, may be skipped if a monster has dropped enough shinies. Geology is excellent insurance in this scenario and guarantees you the best chance to maximize your parts per monster. It's an honest godsend, especially if you're absolutely insane like I am and have spent way too much time in Iceborne. Anyways, I've been Pickle, and I hope you've enjoyed this little deep dive. I've been very tempted of late to get into more Monster Hunter guides and essays like this, especially with Wilds on the Horizon. So stick around, and I'll definitely have more. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, all of which genuinely help me get out there in the YouTube eldritch monstrosity that sort of enslaves everybody, creatives included. Anyways, until next time,